Хөрхөн охид trap сонсон. Trap сонсон, trap донсон. Түүний сонсдог хөгжим дур булаан. Дагаж дуулан дур булаа мууруулаа.
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. We got a special show today from Vegas. Make sure your mics are on, by the way. It's going to be a great show. This is an all-star cast. We got Beneil Dariush, one of my favorite fighters, one of the nicest guys in the world, and also a badass, the Assyrian. What's your nickname, by the way?
I don't have a nickname.
That's how nice he is.
You're about to get one, I think.
Doesn't have a nickname. We also have John Wood, the most underrated coach in the game. This dude he turns people from librarians into monsters. Look at Roxanne Modafferi, was on a 5-fight losing streak, and then with you, she's now 8-2 or something, or
Something like that, yes.
insane. We also have Serena DeJesus, who is an amateur fighter, 5-2.
Yeah, 5-2.
5-2, looking to go pro. And also has autism and is the only fighter in MMA with autism, right? Are you the only one?
Not the only one. John Doomsday Howard has it. I'm the only female in North America who...
All right, the only female in North America. That's the title right there.
Cool.
And me, Adam Hunter. I want to thank our sponsor, Speedweed. If you need marijuana delivered to you, speedweed.com. They deliver everything from edibles to cannabis to roll-ons, any kind of marijuana you need. Use MMA Roasted. You get 20% off over $100 or more. So let's right to it. First of all, John came to my show last night. Thank you.
Yes, fantastic show.
You came with 3 of your buddies, Andrew
Sanchez from the Ultimate Fighter winner, and Eric Spicely.
And you all wore blue jean jackets.
Yes, it's just we kind of have a jean jacket gang that we're starting, and
nice.
We're going to get some patches going on here pretty soon. We're bringing it back.
I loved it, by the way. So John came. I always get nervous when you're there. I don't know why. You're the nicest guy ever, but I feel like I have to do well for you because you see me so many times, and I feel like I don't know. It's just like I totally respect you, by the way. I think we go way back, from back when the first time I met you was when I had your ex on the podcast, who's now dating Tito Ortiz. She was a former ring girl.
Yes.
What's her name? Ann.
I forgot.
You forgot her name, right? So beautiful girl, and she kind of trashed you on the podcast, and then you were like, "Let me go on that podcast. This is bullshit." And then you kind of settled down. But I've been following you over the years, and you know, you're a guy. You are a very good fighter. You made Strikeforce.
So.
Record of 7-6. 2 of your losses were to Shannon Rich. We won't talk about that, by the way. But
come on.
But that, you know, Shannon Rich is actually. But Shannon Rich, when he tries, he's actually a good fighter.
He really is. Like I don't take anything against it. You know that shit. Yeah, I lost to the worst fighter in the world, so I guess that makes me the worst fighter in the world.
He's not the worst fighter in the world.
He's very good. He was very good. It was just one of those things that was the time where after that, I believe that was God telling me, okay, you shouldn't fight.
Okay, so then you go into coaching, right?
Yes.
Now, do you go right into coaching? Do you say to yourself, listen, I'm not going to be the champ? Because you're a good fighter.
I had actually had my gym I've had the gym for about 15 years. So I started it real early on in my fighting career, and that kind of actually ruined the fighting career. You think you're going to get a gym and I'm just going to train all day and it's going to be so easy and all I have to do. No, if you don't run it like a business, you're going to go out of business. So I was kind of coaching all the way through and taking some of the amateurs and the younger guys, and I was kind of splitting time between running a business, trying to coach, and trying to fight, and that just
was it Throwdown? That was your gym?
The very first gym I did was Las Vegas Combat Club way back in the day, and then it came Zion's Training Center, then it was Throwdown, then it was Warrior, then Throwdown, and now Syndicate.
So you owned all those?
I've had it all. It's basically whoever gave me the most money to put their name on the door and keep the doors open is what I did. So, yeah, same gym, same owners the whole time through. Like I said, we're going on, I think, about 14, 15 years now. But, yeah, it was just too hard to juggle it, man. And it was always an injury. It was always this. Got on the Ultimate Fighter, I think season 7 I got on. And, like, 2 weeks before, I tore my bicep tendon 98% off the bone. Still went on, tried to fight with one arm. I just put a sleeve on and acted like my bicep wasn't rolled up into my shoulder, and didn't go well, you know. So it was just kind of one thing after another, and the Strikeforce deal kind of went the same way.
Who did you fight to get into the house?
Dante Rivera.
Oh, okay.
So they gave me the most pure grappler on the show, which I'm fine. At the time I was a jiu-jitsu guy. I think I have 10 wins and 9 of them are by submission, so I was okay with that. But I couldn't go on the ground, couldn't grapple. So I was hoping I could just knock him out with a big right hand. Didn't go that way. He took me down right off the bat.
Right.
But, it was cool because the UFC paid for my surgery, so that worked out. But, it's just too much. So just focused about, 7-8 years ago on full-time coaching.
But, I mean, now... You're a great coach. I mean, when I say great coach, I think I look at Roxanne Modafferi, like we were talking about. I mean, Roxanne was on like a 5-fight losing streak.
Yeah.
And I remember her fight with Raquel Pennington was one of the saddest. It was almost like you're watching that going. It's like watching Rudy, but it would be like Rudy when like it's like putting Rudy into like against a real football NFL game, and you're like, stop this.
Yeah.
This is not.
Yeah.
Maybe this is not for you. But then she comes to you. She comes to your gym. And what do you, and you actually see something in her? You're like, we can.
So what I look at as a coach, I try to look at the fighter as an individual. And for me, I never really had like one straight up coach. I just kind of bounced around and got a lot of different looks and my whole game started from MMA. So I'd say an MMA coach all the way through. I was never a specific one thing or that thing. So I look at a fighter and try to see what's best for them, what they can do. And I try to mold myself to them instead of molding them to me and making them maybe into a style that they're not that good with, or making a grappler or a Thai person. I don't try to do that stuff. So looking at Roxy, when she first came to the gym, super awkward, super just kind of floppy and flippy. She was all over the place, but it actually worked. Like when she sparred, she was hitting people with weird, crazy shit because they didn't know what the heck, what she was throwing or doing, and neither did she. So I just kind of said, okay, I sat her down one day and said, listen, we're going to keep your weirdness, but we're going to make it for a purpose, kind of teach you why and how and when to use that stuff. So that's really what we did, is just kind of reworked it from the ground up and just kept her strange and she's just one of those people that just really likes to learn. It was tough the first few months.
But you made her into an athlete. I remember actually saying to her, I go, man, I'm watching you fight. I'm like, this is crazy, but you became an athlete.
Yeah.
And then you looked at her and you're like, wow, you never thought someone would say that to you, huh? But I'm like, wow, you actually made her athletic.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go that far yet. She's getting there. Like she's just a tough chick, man. Like people don't realize how great of a chin she has, her tenacious drive, her cardio. She don't quit, man. She just goes out. What she doesn't have in athleticism, she makes up in drive and heart and everything else. And she is getting more athletic every single day, man. It's so funny. She's so far along in her career, but she's so far from being done. There's a lot of fights left in that girl.
Yeah, no, I was super impressed. Benny, what's going on with you?
I'm here for Marvin Vittori. He's fighting. I think he's one of the first fights on the card this weekend. He's fighting Omari Akhmedov, Russian guy, good guy, good wrestler. So that's pretty much what I'm here for, helping Marvin get ready.
And he trains over at King's with you?
Yeah, he's at King's with us.
How's it go? How are you doing though, man? What's going on? Last time I spoke to you, you just got the draw with Evan Dunham, which I thought was bullshit. You thought we won the fight, and then what have you been doing since then?
So since then, actually, I've been doing a lot of coaching. I've been going around doing some cornering. My teammate just fought in China, Giga Chikadze. He's an amazing K1 fighter. He just fought in China. So I was in China, and now I'm here with Marvin. Before that, somewhere else. Our guys were fighting somewhere in the desert, so all over the place.
You don't even know where you are. You're like wake up in the desert.
My brain is.
No. Last time we talked about you have this hot Asian girlfriend. Do you still have her?
Same one, yeah.
But her parents didn't accept you.
Yes.
Because you're a fighter. And they didn't get the whole. They think they don't understand that you're a professional fighter. They think you just go out and fight people.
They understand it. Let me explain it this way. So when trying to get engaged, trying to get married, trying to do all that stuff, they basically were like, your job's dumb. It doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, your job is kind of dumb. What we do is pretty dumb.
It's not even that they don't get it. They get it. They're just like, the job is dumb. It's not gonna be fruitful. Your business, who knows if it's gonna be here tomorrow? You have to get a degree. The degree is gonna be there forever, which is completely not true. But I get the mindset. So With that being said, we ended up meeting somewhere in the middle. So Victoria's working on her nursing degree now, and I'm hoping when that's done, we can just get.
Wait, so they tell you need to get a degree, and then you just send her to school?
she was she was already in school.
Where's the meeting in the middle part?
So yeah, Victoria and her parents they started fighting and it wasn't looking good. So we ended up saying, look, if we don't meet in the middle, if we don't compromise, we're not gonna have a good relationship with your parents. That one, and then they realized it too. So with that being said, they said, okay, well, at least Victoria has
at least one of them has a degree.
Yeah,
right?
because they're
So she's the fallback plan.
right. It's basically
She's
that.
the investment, the long-term
Well,
investment.
the idea is like this. They're like, well, if things don't work out and you and Victoria you split, what's she gonna do? She needs to have something. And we were never against her going to school. I was never like, no, you're gonna stay home. And
No, but his girlfriend, by the way, is the hottest. It's like this hot Asian girl who wears these tight spandex, walks into the room, everyone looks at her, and then this meathead comes afterwards, and you're like, oh, great, that's who she's with. Now, you also spend your free time building schools and churches in third world countries. Have you done that recently?
No, I was supposed to go to Haiti this year, but it didn't work out. I got set up for the fight, so I couldn't go. And but we have contacts. I have some plans to go to the Philippines next year and things like that. So
Nice.
and then Haiti, obviously as well. So I'm just trying
Such
to
a great
schedule
guy,
for the next
man.
year.
He's
Yeah,
a nice guy.
Thank
And
you.
Serena, so you want to go pro? You're 5-2. I hear you on Twitter begging people for fights. But is anyone responding to you?
Well, they'll just come to John if they have something for me. I'm just waiting, just training, and when I'm not training, I'm just, I don't know, playing video games and writing. So
Nice. What kind of stuff are you writing?
I write for disability advocacy blogs like such as Jason's Connection, which is based out of Ohio. I also help people with their homework for a fee. So got to use my brain cells while I still have them.
Is that legal?
Yeah, it's totally
All right,
legal.
go on. Now you tell me, like I know there's like a spectrum, autism spectrum, right? Because I remember there was a kid on my wrestling team who me and Connor Hugh, I don't know Connor, they told us, hey, there's a kid on the team who has autism. So me and Connor were coaching, and this one kid was out of control. So we were very, very kind and gentle with this kid. Turned out he was an asshole. It was another kid that had autism, right? The other kid didn't know right from left. He was the nicest, like, no. So the whole year we were like,
for laughing.
So what exactly? I don't know much about this stuff. Could you explain to me like where you are on the spectrum and what's?
Well, to put it simply, I have siblings. 2 of them also have autism. I have a 16-year-old sister who is has a PDD NOS, and then I have my other brother. It's like a fucking giant. He's 6 foot and 200 pounds, and now doing jujitsu. So I look up at him like, when the hell did you become a man? And he's just as socially awkward and kind of. I see my 14-year-old self in him. I had to have a lot of social therapy because I like a lot of social cues and everything just flew over my head. Sarcasm still kind of occasionally flies over my head. I didn't understand analogies and stuff, so had a caseworker who helped me out. I had a caseworker until I was 20.
Okay.
But I was doing well. I was going to college, doing everything. Social anxiety is still there because not getting people, I was a little kid, I was bullied and everything. Until I took a nice big stick to a bunch of people's faces at one point. Oh, no, I got bullied, and there's times I'll just learn it. Oh, always. Lured these guys on a field or just picking on me and just channel my inner Rafiki and just beat the shit out of them.
Does it get in the way of fighting at all, of learning or anything? Or?
I need John sometimes to break it down like maybe 5 more times when I'm learning something here and again. He'll see probably the face, and just, I'm like, huh? And he'll break it down a little more for me. I have light and noise sensitivity, just kind of bugs me. And
what?
Light and noise sensitivity. I hear things, in a quiet room. Like, for example, you hear this light above your head, like humming, and it's loud as shit.
So you're like Daredevil.
I would fucking hope I would be. That'd be amazing. But I've had issues with it. Just
now you were telling me that when you did Tough Enough, they put you up against a deaf girl.
No, not in Tough Enough. That was in Utah.
In Utah. Now, was that a joke? I mean, someone was like,
no.
Like, who thought this was a good idea? Like,
well, my mom called it a short bus cage match, and I laughed my ass off over that.
A blind girl.
Your mom said it was a short bus cage match.
Yeah, I called her like the day before the fight. I'm like, Mom, I don't feel feel good about hitting a deaf girl. And she's like, I bet you don't feel good about hitting an autistic girl. Serena, it's a short bus cage match. Just get used to it. I'm like, Mom, what the fuck, man?
Now, did you win the fight?
Yes, I won the short bus cage match there. It was
good.
Unanimous decision.
Girl didn't listen for shit though.
I actually saw that girl in Mesquite because I was in Mesquite. There was a weigh-in for Tough Enough, and this one girl, this jack girl, the other girl missed weight by 5 pounds, and she didn't. And I felt bad. I'm like, hey, sorry that the other girl missed weight. And then she looked at me like I was crazy, and then I was like, oh, this girl's kind of rude. And I look at her corner, and they're all signaling to her. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? So that, and then I told Serena that story, and she's like, oh, I fought her. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Yeah, okay, well, all right.
Yeah, me and her are best friends now. You know.
Are you really?
Yeah, we talk to each other here and again.
Well, how?
Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Facebook, okay.
Yes, okay. So now, do you have a boyfriend or?
I haven't dated since I was 20.
How old are you now?
Gonna be 26 next month.
Okay.
It's been a while.
All right. Well, hang in there.
What for?
Oh, don't talk to John. That's all right. Now, John. This might be. We'll get back to your fights and the coaching. Okay, you do get the hottest girls that I like in Vegas. Like your girlfriends, your exes are all very hot, and your wife now, gorgeous.
Thank you.
But they do seem a little nuts. Okay, and I think that you kind of peaked out, right? Because first it was Colleen, and then it was Amber.
No, Amber was first.
Amber first, then Colleen, right? Then I see you on TV dating Jenna Jameson, right? And I'm like, okay, you're on what was it? Couples rehab? That was the show?
Couples therapy. It might as well have been couples rehab.
Therapy. Now I became a little suspicious when every single time you were on TV, you had a Syndicate Gym T-shirt. So I'm like, wait a minute. Then you have a Syndicate hat, Syndicate socks. I'm like, this. Were you really there for the couples therapy, or was it a commercial for Syndicate?
Man, there was a lot of reasons why I went there. It was an opportunity that, me and Jenna were dating, and it was just kind of a thing that came about. And I was like, sure, went and did it. And it was not that fun of a show, I can tell you. It was not that fun of a deal. Like,
you became friends with Tretch, Naughty by Nature, though, right?
all those guys. Really, I met some really cool people. Still contact with a lot of them. But yeah, believe it or not, like I've done a few reality shows, and you get some fun shit. That was literally like 10 hours of therapy a day. It's not a fun, like, hey, let's go do this. It's like, no, we're going to dig into your deepest, darkest secrets and make you cry and try to fuck with you on TV. So that was a really crazy experience, and one I don't want to do.
Well, you know what, though? After that, you got married. And I had a similar experience. I went on Oxygen, some show. It was called Living with Funny, where I went out with all my exes to see what went wrong. And after that,
Oh my God.
That sounds like the worst idea in the
right?
world.
And after that, I was like, all right, now I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I got married to the next girl. And I think you kind of did the same thing, right? After Jenna, it was...
Yeah. I pretty much, I met my wife, and we waited, I think, 3 weeks.
No way.
And then got married.
You got married after 3 weeks?
Yeah, listen, man. I don't claim to be the smartest guy when it comes to kind of stuff.
Now, did your wife see you with Jenna Jameson on TV?
The show actually hadn't aired yet.
Oh.
She knew me from Instagram. Like she had saw me from dating with her, but it was kind of a funny deal that we met each other at a grocery store, saw each other in a grocery store, and she's
like nice melons,
6'1". Oh, she was wearing a bathing suit. She was on her way to work, and I just walked in, and I was like, holy shit! It's like this scene from Baywatch. So kind of like followed each other around the grocery store for about an hour, and then I left. And she actually contacted me on Instagram and was like, hey, I thought that was you, and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, a few months later after, me and Jenna had broke up, we started dating, and I had to, kind of tell her. She didn't know, because I actually got engaged to Jenna on that show. So the first time that my wife came over to the house, I was actually on an interview on a Skype call with... another dating show that was trying to get me, and I just told her, I was like, hey, you can come hang out, but you're gonna have to, sorry. And then I think actually then right after that Skype call, I did the interview with you, which was about my ex-wife, and so she sat there and listened to that. So it wasn't like a stellar first meeting, but
she hung with you. Now Jenna Jameson, I remember you came to the show. and she's doing okay now. She
Yeah.
seems like doing very, very well now. But I remember you coming to the show, and I didn't even realize that Colleen was there with Josh Barnett at the time.
You put Colleen and Josh Burnett right in front of me.
Next to you. I didn't realize all this was going on, and I think there was like a restraining order. It was like, but you had like Chiesa with you and somebody else, Phil Dice or something.
Phil Dice was
Phil
there, Mike Chiesa.
And you're like, great. So, and you're all wearing Syndicate shirts.
Yeah,
it's like a fucking West Side Story. Now, but
me and Josh Barnett are actually like friends. We're friends now.
He's a great guy.
So
He happens to be a great guy.
I like that guy a lot.
And Colleen and him, whoa, that didn't go well.
It doesn't go well with anything she's with, whatever.
So, Jenna Jameson, though, like, she seemed out of it at that time. Was that hard to deal with?
It was super hard to deal with. She had a bunch of stuff going on in her life at that point in time and just wasn't, let's say, coping with it well. So it was literally like, it was.
Because I've been with girls who have like substance problems. It is the fucking worst. It is. My ex was drinking and she used to get drunk while I was on stage, and I come off stage and she'd be fucking plastered.
Yeah.
And then I remember one time we were in Canada, we got into an argument, and she's like, "I'm walking home." I'm like, "Go ahead." Like, so she leaves the comedy condo and starts, and I'm like, "All right, go home." 20 minutes later, "You were gonna let me freeze to death." I'm like, "No, like this." It was insane. It's insane. But but there has to be a point though where like every guy under the age of maybe 50 has masturbated numerous times. Jenna Jameson.
Sure.
I mean, she's super hot.
I mean, I used to have her posters all over my wall. Like I used to.
I mean, it was. So was there a point
I don't
was there a
masturbate,
point where
but
you're
if I
sleeping
did-
with her and you're like, "I'm banging Jenna Jameson"?
Absolutely.
gotta be
I mean,
cool.
it was definitely a bucket list, situation. She's a really, really cool girl. She's a sweetheart, and she's definitely got her shit together. She just had a baby, and she's got a new relationship. She's doing really, really good, and I'm super happy for her. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that's a highlight. That's a highlight reel moment for sure.
But I could see why after that you would get married. I could see. So let's talk fighting. So Benny, what's going on with your fighting career? Any new fights coming up?
After the last fight, I asked UFC, if there's anything coming up short notice, I'll just jump in and take a fight. I was hoping to fight again this year, but nothing popped up, and now they're talking about February, March. They still haven't given me a name and no exact dates, too, so it's a little bit frustrating.
Who do you want to fight?
Just give me somebody at this point. I've waited already 2 months.
Is there anybody that you don't like in your division? It seems like you'd like everybody.
It's not an issue. I mean, if you think about it, everybody has the same dream as you. They work just hard like you. They have the same mindset. It's kind of weird that if you guys don't like each other.
But what do you feel about a guy like they're now that they're talking about Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley coaching the Ultimate Fighter? Like that's what people are saying that might happen. A guy like Colby who just says all this stuff, talks all this crap, and now it seems to work for him. Or like Kevin Lee kind of talked a bunch of shit and got Tony Ferguson. Not saying that they don't deserve it, but does that bother a guy like you who is not that kind of a guy?
So, what is Kobe now? Like 6-0 in his last 6 fights. So he's doing good. I can't. If there's nothing wrong with the resume, I can't really complain about his personality. I'm not here for somebody's personality. I'm here because I want to fight. And if he's put the work in, I'm not going to complain. Same thing with Lee. Lee had done the work. There was no other option. Nobody else was taking the fight. So there you go. You can't complain about stuff like that. If it was, let's say, Colby had 1 fight or 2 fights and he just did mad talk and then got a fight, then I would be really disappointed. And it happens sometimes. Like, for example, I wasn't really excited. GSP, probably my favorite fighter of all time. He's one of the reasons why I started fighting. But the fact that he just got an instant title shot and then released the belt, that was really strange to me. And then I hear talks about him fighting at 170 and then he's going to get another title shot. It brings down the whole ranking system. There's no point to the ranking system.
Yeah.
There is no ranking system right now.
I mean, so it becomes like a WWE type thing where it's like also it's just it's like if the Lakers were 500 but they sold tickets, you wouldn't put them in the championship. And it does seem like that's sort of where it's going. Now, another girl that you're coaching, which you always said was a girl, and a very beautiful girl. Wild girl, Jessie Jess. Now, the Rowdy Beck fight, did you see that fight going that way?
Yes, absolutely. You know, when they offered it, and I had kind of told her, we've been on the cusp of, you know, the UFC had came to us with a couple things already previous, and so we were right on the, hey, you're going to get the call soon. So I was actually, she had an Invicta fight that was going to be a couple weeks after that fight, so we were already in training camp, but I had already put it in her mind of like that December 1st show with all those flyweight girls. I figured somebody's going to get hurt, so I just told her, you know, let's be ready for that. And then like 2 days later, we got the call for the Rowdy Beck fight, which people, Jessie is amazing talent, and people don't realize she hits and kicks like a mule. I mean, she'll tell you she's getting, you know, kicked with her every day and stuff, but she's super talented. She's very good on the ground. She's another one of those ones that kind of came and had the talent, had the athleticism. She is an athlete, super strong, great vision, and just kind of added to her game. And I think she's gonna be fighting for a title soon.
She's fighting Paige Van Zandt next, right?
Yes.
Now, that's a big fight for her. Obviously, I feel like the UFC wants to push Paige Van Zandt. Is there actually like pressure on you as a coach to not have it go to a decision?
I think Jessie will finish Paige. I know she will. That fight's not going to go 3 rounds. She'll finish her. No real pressure. Like the way this girl, like fighters, you know, sometimes like take some time to come into their own mentally, physically, and she's kind of hitting that stride right now, and everything is just firing on all cylinders, and it's the best she's ever looked, man. So she's going to come in there and she's going to do work.
Do you think experience is going to play a factor? Because Van Zandt's had a lot of fights in the UFC.
So, I mean, Jessie, her UFC fight, her UFC debut, she's probably one of the most relaxed I've ever seen her. So going to that, you never know what you're going to get the first time a guy goes into the big show or a girl goes into the big show. She went out there like just a straight pro, like she'd been there before. Nothing. It was like all smiles and happy and just good to go, and went out and performed. So I really don't think the pressure is going to get to her on this one too. I think she can handle that. Experience always, of course, does play a part into it.
Was that fight like a co-main event?
Yeah, it was a co-main.
Okay.
Yeah,
that actually helps a lot too.
Yeah, so she went out there in her hometown, which is a lot of pressure too. Co-main event, and you know, handled business. So
now the guy you brought yesterday to my show, Andrew Sanchez.
Yes.
Now he I didn't realize after he came to the show, I looked him up and I'm like, oh shit, that's the guy who
Dirty Sanchez,
who was murdering this dude from Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, he had him out, and then he just sort of in the 3rd round, he kind of hit him with everything he could, and then sort of faded and lost a fight. Probably the best comeback I've ever seen. You're on the receiving end of that, so you're the coach. What's going through your head? How do you prevent that? And what were you telling him?
Well, I was telling him to relax, chill the fuck out, but he wasn't doing that. It's something, you know, every guy always has their little kind of thing. That was something we had worked in a camp a lot, is to keep him calm. Andrew's probably one of the most talented pound for pound guys that I've worked with. His wrestling is like a 4-time All-American. He's got great stand-up. The dude is jiu-jitsu. He's a legit brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I mean, the guy's like every tool that you would want. His cardio's off the wall, everything. It's just that, you know, in that fight, he had a lot of pressure coming off a loss already, and he wanted to, you know, make a statement. Went out there and crushed the guy, dropped the guy, face first twice, and then he thought that fight was over, so he went in for the kill, which is sometimes a mistake that fighters make, and you dump everything into it. And that guy, Ryan James, is a friend of ours too, and actually was going to come train with us for that camp until that fight got signed. His biggest forte is being a tough mofo, and he can take that punch. So that's one of those guys that you have to sit back and not try to finish. You just got to try to keep hitting him and doing as much as you can until he eventually falls and goes out. Andrew just got, you know, he went into that fight or flight mode and tried to kill the dude, and it didn't work. And once you dip into that little, you know, that your adrenaline dump, it's hard. That's one of the hardest things to come.
Ever happened to you, Benny?
Yeah, this last fight, some people were saying, you know, I was looking tired in the 2nd and the 3rd round. And I looked back at it. I watched it a few times, and it's kind of true.
You always look tired, though. You look tired walking to the cage.
You know, he's talking about, you know, how you're an athlete. He's got all the tools and stuff like that. I'm not much of an athlete, man. If you do, like, I just did my VO2 test today, and it was pretty crappy. But like, when it comes to fighting, I just fight, and it works.
You got your black belt in 2 years.
No. It was 5 years.
5?
Yeah.
Under who?
Romulo Bahau. He's
I mean, Ellenberger said that you tapped him in 12 seconds. Like the first time he went to, he was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
People would talk about you like you are. I think you have that like Middle Eastern strength. And like
Yes.
I swear,
I get that a lot.
There's a kid in my team, a Russian kid. He has bear strength.
Yeah. Grappling just clicks, and striking now is starting to click. So in the Dunham fight, I came out strong. I dropped him, and one thing I never trained before is this is probably really dumb on my part, but like I've never trained ground and pound. I just, if it goes to the ground, I'm gonna jiu-jitsu and I'm gonna win. But I felt like I had him hurt. I should just keep punching him. And so I spent about a minute and a half just punching him on the ground. And then when we stood up, I was like, whoa, I need a break. So it was good though. So we did have a break. The round was over. I went back in my corner. I took a couple of deep breaths. I felt good. My cardio, I felt like my breathing was back to normal, but I did feel fatigue in my muscle. So with that being said, it was another aspect I learned. That's the thing. Like fighting, that's what I like about it, fighting. I always learn something new. Now it's becoming apparent to me that I have to be a better athlete. So I'm gonna have to work on that.
One of your fights like shocked me. I mean, no disrespect, but when you fought James Vick. James Vick was like, I think 9-0 at the time, or 8-0, and he was a Golden Glove boxer. And I'm like, oh, on the ground, Benny's got this. On the feet, Benny's gonna get his ass whooped, right? You knocked him down 3 times in the first round. I'm like, how is this possible? How is a grappler? Talk to me about how was that? How does it happen?
I got Rafael Cordero as a coach, and he's one of the best striking coaches, in my opinion, the best. And with him, action reaction. It's more about it. It's not just you understanding every position. It's about you being able to feel every position and being able to respond to things. And we did a lot of that. So if he was to kick me, I better answer that kick. I'm not just taking a kick and just waiting there. And the first knockdown, that's how it came in. The second he kicked me, I came over the top and caught him with the left hand. And that was the kind of the plan in this fight. Pressure him and try to be first. But if I'm not first, make sure I'm last again. So always either you're first or you're last. And there's no just Vic going. That was kind of the game plan. And I think overall it worked out pretty good. But again, if I hadn't finished him in the first round, I may have been just completely gassed.
The Barboza fight, that fight was like, that was a hard fight to watch because that fight was so even up until that knockout.
Yeah, according to the numbers and the judges too, I guess I was actually quite a bit ahead, which sucks, and I felt really good with Barbosa. Everybody talked about his kicks, his striking, and I didn't really feel any danger. So I did my striking. It's when I tried to transition to a takedown, he took advantage and
did you wake? Now, when you knocked out, did you wake up in the hospital?
No. I got up right away and I just walked back and just disappointed,
You're such a nice guy. Like, you know how you like build churches? You know Tim Tebow? Tim Tebow, when he would get tackled, he would say, Jesus loves you. I swear. And people fucking people hated him. Maybe that should be your thing, right? Like after like someone punches
you, Jesus loves
you. Jesus loves you. Wood.
Yes.
One of the fighters that everyone talks about that you train, they say this guy in the gym is the greatest fighter of all time. They say he beats everybody in the gym. Mike Pyle.
Yes.
They say Mike Pyle, something happens to him. Not that he hasn't had a great career. He's an amazing career. He's got up to, I think he was ranked at high as number 3 at one point. Or
He was up in the top 10, I think.
And he's an amazing fighter.
Yeah.
But how frustrating is it coaching that guy?
What's funny is through the years is like when we were all fighting, it's a guy who spent many years just whooping my ass up and down the mat. Like that was one of my arch nemesis, is like the worst guy. I try to like duck and go to the other side of the room when he was looking for partners and shit. And so would a lot of people.
Yeah, RDA was for me.
Yeah, the guy, it's just like him and Forrest were two of the guys. I was like, oh, no, I got to go to the bathroom. But Pyle is probably one of the most knowledgeable MMA guys you'll ever meet. Great grappling, just stand up, and a lot of it's just self-taught. So it's funny kind of to come back around after years later and to coach him after, like, I'd say half the stuff I learned was from him. So, he's just a part of the career. The sport's just, he's no spring chicken. He's in his 40s.
If he was like 20 right now, and I mean, he probably would be champion.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the skill set that you couldn't possibly, I mean, you you wouldn't understand how good he is until you get on and grapple with him and train with him, and you're just like, what the hell, man? How is this? He's just great, and he's a great coach too. But yeah, like he probably got in a little bit. He got in a little bit early. I mean, not really, but
his first fight was against Rampage.
Yeah, his very first fight.
Yeah,
he stepped up and took a fight.
And then I told that story last night, which bombed. The one part of the thing was bombed, but I feel like I had to do it just for you.
It didn't bomb for me. But
my favorite story ever is what Mike Pyle and his girl are breaking. Oh, John and his girl are breaking up, right? So his girl on Facebook. He's blocked on Facebook. Is selling all John's stuff like for $10, like $20. It
was a fire
cabinet,
sale.
A fire sale, like all his shit. So Pyle calls him up. He's like, "Hey, Wood, man, I gotta talk to you. Your girl, she's selling all your shit." And John's like, "What? What do you mean?" He goes, "Yeah, I just bought your couch. I bought this." and he said every time you go to his place, you see your stuff.
I still got my barbecue and bookshelf and all that shit. He's like, "Well, you didn't want anybody else to buy it. You might as well still." Okay. You gotta love the guy. Yeah.
That is so funny. He kills me.
Yeah, he's one of the funniest people too. Like if you ever hang out with him, man, he's one of the most entertaining, funny guys you'll ever.
And a nice guy. He's one of those guys where he's like a pit bull, or if he doesn't like you, you'll know it.
Oh yeah.
But if he likes you, he'll do anything for you.
He don't mince very many words, man. If he likes you, he's gonna mess with you all day long and make sure you know that. And if you don't, you'll know that too.
Now, have you seen a lot of gym beefs at Syndicate? Like fighters get real?
Yeah, I mean, any gym, like we're punching each other in the face for profession. Shit gets out of hand a lot. Like it's just you keep control of it, and I always watch like when the guys are sparring or training. You start to hear the thuds across the room. I'll kind of walk over and I'll see what's going on. I'll tell them to chill out a little bit. Or I see somebody get hit too hard, I'll let the guy get some payback, and then it's all right, guys, chill it down. But yeah, I mean, we got a real good atmosphere and a good room at our place. There's no real egos or anybody that's like puffing their chest up. So, but then again, it's full of testosterone and sometimes lots of estrogen. But it's one of those things. Yeah, you get hit, you're gonna want to hit somebody back. So
my first time going in there, Vinny Magalish was teaching jiu-jitsu. So I'm like, oh great, I'll take his class. And it's like, okay, live rolling. Vinny goes, go with me. I'm like, oh okay, he'll go easy on me. He submitted me like 19 times in 2 minutes. Like he didn't even like.
That dude's a monster.
A monster.
He's a monster.
There's a guy though, right? When you're like, no one's gonna beat this guy.
Yeah, like if you train with him, I mean, on the ground, he's probably one of the best ground guys I've ever seen or rolled with. I mean, he's phenomenal. Like it's just a different level.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then does Amanda Lucas still own the gym or part?
No, we they went off and we split ways a while ago. Very grateful that she came in and I had a good run with her as a fighter too. Good people, but they're off just doing some other stuff now.
Well, speaking of testosterone, Gabby Garcia yesterday missed weight by 26 pounds. She missed an open weight. But if it's open, like, how do you miss open weight? Like,
welcome to Japanese roll sets.
But isn't open weight anything? I guess you can't.
You would think.
You would think, but she came 26 pounds over. She's fighting a 52-year-old senator, and yeah, that's.
Stupidest shit I've ever seen.
Just the whole thing, from the poster design of Rizin, from like Baki the Grappler style to the whole thing. It's kind of got me like doing a double take, like what the fuck's going on here?
It's unbelievable, right? I mean, there's a girl who like got caught for steroids. Like, why the fuck does she need steroids? Right? Like I was telling her, like if Roxanne Modafferi took steroids 5 years ago, I'd be like, you know what? Give her a couple steroids.
Give her
and no disrespect to Roxanne, but I could see it,
sure.
You know. But then you hear like even Cyborg, as good as Cyborg is, I'm sorry, there's something about that where I just get a little bit like, yeah, but those fights, early on fights, like it puts an asterisk to it.
Yeah.
To me.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Now, one of your guys who I couldn't believe tested positive, the dude the funny entrances.
Tom Lawler.
Tom Lawler. He was convinced he has no idea what the hell happened, and I believe him.
So, I've been in the sport for a long time, and there's a lot of guys that have done stuff. He's one of the. If I would bet my life, $1 million, every money that I had that Tom's never taken anything. The guy doesn't even take natural supplements. And what he tested positive for, I'd never even heard of. And it was like 0.0001 of a picogram of something. He could have got out of tap water. And so we had a bunch of stuff tested and everything. No idea how he got popped.
But he still fucked for a year or 2 years.
Oh, 2 years. It was a 2-year suspension, automatic 2-year. And so he's been doing a lot of pro wrestling. Suspension should be up this year, so he'll get back in there. But I mean, it's happened to a lot of guys. I know a lot of guys that seriously haven't done shit, and there's a lot of guys that have. You know,
have you trained with guys who you know are on stuff? Can you see the difference? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely you guys. I mean, you can take a look at a lot of pre and post USADA pictures and just even performances. But personally, like I mean, like Vitor Belfort back in his TRT days was like, it was like a cartoon.
He was amazing. Yeah.
Now, were you training with him back then?
I never really trained with Vitor. He was just in the gym around, you know, for a few times, but he always had his own coaches. And yes, I've trained with a lot of guys that are on the stuff, and personally, back in the day, I've done my own thing, and it does.
What's your hold on? What's your, you were juicing back in the day?
When I was young, like not even like before my fighting career, just even doing stuff like that, like in lifting and trying to be a big tough.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up out here in Vegas.
In Vegas? You went to high school in Vegas?
Yeah.
Any college?
A little community here and there.
So it
wasn't for me.
So you went right into fighting?
Pretty much. I started training when I was like 17, and then I think I had my first fight when I was 21, 22.
Now they were saying back in the day you banged half the girls in the strip. That was the word on the street. Is there any truth to that?
Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble. No, no, that's all false.
Yeah, right, all false. Now, I gotta give you credit though, because you're sitting there. I saw you and Jessie Jess in Japan, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, these two. Like I know you're a professional, but I'm like, if ever there were two hot messes that I could see together, it would be you and Jess. I mean, here's a girl, she's got a fucking tattoo on her face. She goes for the bad boy. Yeah. Here's you. I mean, but
when it comes to like, listen, I try to keep that stuff out of the gym, and when it comes to, and I have the same talk with my fighters, and I hold myself to the thing, and I've done that one time with you know who, and it was just a horrible idea and a horrible experience. Sometimes, I mean, fighters in general just aren't the most adjusted people in the world, but sometimes female fighters just are a little bit less adjusted sometimes, but like I just don't do that. I just try not to, ever have that kind of reputation. And when it comes to somebody who's going to put their career in my hands, man or woman, I take that very seriously. So I try not to ever cross those boundaries or do anything.
You're a good man. That's great. And a lot of coaches feel differently. Now, Serena, you haven't been on a date in 6 years. We got to fix this. Are you on Tinder or
No.
Soul Swipe or like nothing?
Soul Swipe?
For black
What the
people.
hell is that? Oh my god! I walk into
Farmers
a
only?
club and be like, "Oh, hey, hi, social anxiety."
No, okay. No, listen, it's obvious you have social anxiety, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of men out there, probably 90% of our listeners, that also have social anxiety.
That's great. I've had a few slide in my DMs. I'm like, thanks for the compliment, but no.
So you got to be. Don't you want to be with somebody or have a boyfriend? Or
I really, at this point, don't care. I'm more focused on training than really anything else.
yeah, but you're young and you have
That's
needs.
great. I do.
I forget it.
I need to train. I have
You're
that
barking
need.
up the wrong
All right.
tree.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Don't date anybody. All right. So no. How about you? Do you get a lot of? I know that you're a big star. You're for Assyrian girls, because like I met some guys who were Assyrian. They're like, oh my god, but you're like the king. First it was Carol Parisian. Carol kind of fell off. Now you're their guy. Do you get Persian princesses that hit you up? Hey, come shave me or?
So Assyrian community, pretty popular. It's actually really strange when I go into an Assyrian, like any kind of event. I'm like, what the heck?
They love you.
Yeah.
They love you.
With that being said, when Victoria came into the picture, I got a lot of negative...
Oh, they got mad at you.
Oh, for sure. They got really mad at me.
Oh, come on.
They're like, what the hell are you doing? And blah, 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 blah.
You need to date a girl from Glendale.
Something like
Yeah.
that, right? So with that being said, I just, I had to kind of get away from social media and stuff. Victoria has all my social media. She runs it. I don't even touch that
Wait,
stuff
did you
anymore.
respond to any of it? Like, hey, listen, this is 2017. I could date who I want.
In the beginning,
Plus, Asian pussy is amazing.
in the beginning, I was super pissed. Like, what the heck? What are you freaking 5 years old? This is not how the world works. And I would try to explain it to every single one of them. And then after a while, I got tired of it. I was like, dude, it is what it is.
That's so racist. That's such bullshit.
That's exactly what it is.
Racist. I think it's
No,
not
it actually is.
Yeah.
It is, because you're saying basically that that ethnicity is below you, and you should stick to your
Hey,
own.
but your parents didn't care, right?
No, my mom's pretty cool with it. She doesn't have a problem. She tries to get Victoria over anytime she can.
And your girl's Filipino?
She's Vietnamese and Chinese.
Not Chinese. Okay, so do you guys make like dumplings and hookah, or like, did they try to
We
like, go
do
overboard?
dumplings. I don't really do hookah.
No.
It's not my scene.
No, they don't do. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the fights going on. So a guy you fought, like we said, is fighting Khabib this week. Who do you like in that fight?
I'm gonna have to go with Khabib. I didn't feel Barbosa so strong, or I didn't feel him physically. I mean, his striking is good, but he didn't feel physically strong. From what I hear, Khabib is very physically strong, so I got to give him the advantage.
I mean, Kevin Lee says Barbosa bitches out during fights. When the going gets tough, he's gonna bitch out.
I think early on, yeah, but when I fought him, I feel like I hit him quite often, and they were good shots.
Do you think maybe you should have went to the ground earlier in your fight with him?
No, because I was doing perfectly fine standing. If anything, I should have just kept it standing. It's when I attempted to go to the ground, I got in trouble. But I put a lot of pressure on him, and I feel like I landed a lot of good shots. And I think because of that, he's had to deal with that maybe his whole career after people figured it out. Who was the first guy to beat him? I forget his name. Jamie Varner, I think, right? Varner was the first one. So everybody after that tried to do the same thing. And I think because of that, Barbosa's kind of figured it out. He knows now, okay, I got to learn to deal with pressure. And I think that's actually helped him.
John, who do you like? Barbosa or Khabib?
Khabib.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
I mean, he's unbeaten first off, so nobody's found a answer to solve that riddle, and he's got one of the the best kind of just overpowering ground games on people. He's relentless, and so I think he's just too good. So until somebody shows me something different with him, I got to go with him.
What about the striking, though? It did seem like against Michael Johnson, he was losing in the striking on the feet, and this guy Barbosa's, that's his whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, Khabib's probably not the best striker in the world, but he still is going to find a way to get you down and do what he needs to do, and I think he'll do that in this fight too.
Yeah, in my opinion, Johnson much faster starter than Barbosa.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you saw him. I feel like Johnson, the first 2.5 minutes of a fight, he's unstoppable, and then after that, it just goes down.
Serena?
Khabib.
All right, so we all got Khabib on here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now, I was thinking that Cyborg was just going to run through Holly Holm, and I'm like, this is too big, too fast, too strong. But then Kevin Lee yesterday was like, listen, it's a 3-1 favorite. And then I started thinking, the last couple girls that Cyborg has beat that come from camps that are not, like Tanya Evinger kind of does her own kind of makeshift camp. And then before that, Leslie Smith was like, I'm just going to punch her as hard as I can and see what happens. Whereas now we're going against Holly Holm, Jackson Winklejohn. This is like their protege. They've been with her whole career. They're going to watch so much tape. They're going to, somehow I'm starting to like convince myself that maybe Holly has a better chance than I'm thinking. Talk to me.
When Holly fought Ronda, I picked Holly right away.
Yeah.
Just because of footwork. I was like, you're not going to throw somebody you can't catch. Cyborg understands that she's got to cut off the cage, but I don't know if she's going to be able to. And I think this fight is going to be a lot slower than people think. I'm pretty sure it's going to go to a decision. It's just, let's see who gets that decision.
And who do you think's going to win? It's a gun to your head.
I'm going to go with Holm.
All right.
Yeah.
Big Wood?
Holly, I think Holmes, she's a natural counterfighter, one of the best counterfighters. She is the best female counterfighter in the world, in the sport. That's just right up her alley. Cyborg will probably come out and might try to pressure her for a while, but I think the fight's going to slow down pretty quick, and that's where Holly will do her work and best kind of outpoint and pick. I just think if you watch all of Holly's wins or big knockouts, it's from girls really trying to pressure hard on her. That's where she does her best thing. That's where all of her highlight reels are. If someone sits back, if Cyborg is smart, she'll sit back and kind of make her come to her, but that's not her game. Yeah. She's never had a fight like that. So if she keeps pushing forward, I think she's going to get clipped.
Serena?
I got Cyborg on this one solely because after watching Tanya fight, she was saying she was just too heavy, and then you watch Cyborg, she wasn't as, I put it, reckless as she is in her other fights. Like, she was actually calculated, because Tanya can hit hard as well. I think if she plays a patient game against Holm, it'll, like you said, be a slower fight, but I think it'll be something that she'll find a code to break and get in to Holly and as long as she watches out for that kick, she can have this.
Now, John, you trained Nunez a couple times.
Yeah.
Is she the best girl you ever trained?
She's really good. She's really, really good. She's tough, man. She's strong.
Now, is it hard for, like, Nunez comes in from ATT. Obviously, they have, you know, Dean, all those guys coaching her, Mike Brown, and then she goes to you. Is it hard to, like, sort of like you don't want to step on other coaches' feet and like what they're doing? Is there,
you know, like she just comes in, she's spent a couple weeks here and there, and you know, I've become good friends with her and Nina, and they're just awesome chicks. So like whenever they come in, if she comes in and uses the gym, sometimes she comes in with their coaches and I just let them use the gym. Sometimes, you know, I've worked with her a handful of times on pads and stuff, and it's super easy to work with. I never really worry about like if she's got a fight coming up or something like that. When she was training for Ronda and she was there for 2 or 3 weeks, it was just like, listen, tell me what you're looking for. Tell me what to stay away from when we're doing pads or whatever. No, I don't feel any pressure because I'm not trying to change anybody's game plan or do anything or insert myself into that. Just there to help out.
So you're not saying like keep your right up higher, like are you?
I mean, if I see something and she was asking, yeah, there's simple little things like that. But you don't go in when somebody's already been doing 6 weeks of camp, 8 weeks of camp, and come in the last 2 weeks and try to be, oh no, I think you should do that.
But you've seen that happen before, though.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. Somebody wants to get in and be the.
I remember Connor. I remember Connor Hune. He had a Strikeforce fight. And this guy was a college wrestler, Eddie Bravo brown belt, and all of a sudden he goes with Chris Riley. I like Chris, but he's like, yeah, I'm gonna start throwing elbows in this fight. I'm like, elbows? Like we haven't worked on elbows for your whole life. Now all of a sudden you're the elbow king. Like what are you out of your fucking mind? But I've seen that happen before.
Oh yeah, it happens. I mean, that's just. You've just got to know your place as a coach and know your role. And sometimes what you think is the best might not be the best for that person, or maybe it is technically, but maybe it's just not the time.
Is it hard for you to bite your tongue?
The place. No, not really. You know, like Amanda's a very, very good, well-rounded fighter. So somebody like that, you're working with the champ, the best in the world. So it's not like you're working with some slapdick that's like, oh my God, you suck. You know, you should be doing this. No, you got the highest level athlete already. So there's not really much she's doing wrong anyways.
Now your fighter who's fighting this week, Khalil.
Yes.
Khalil, obviously his Achilles heel seemed to be wrestling in the beginning. How did you work on getting him to be better at takedown defense and whatever?
Lots of sacrificing my brain cells and just shooting on him and having him, just beat the holy hell out of me a lot of times. That guy's probably giving me more concussions than anybody.
Really?
Yeah, so I mean, with an athlete, the guy's just a superior athlete, just a natural born athlete. And you get these guys that are really good at something. He's a natural born striker, so making people have tendencies to do what they really, really love to do and not do the things that they really don't like to do. So you have to kind of trick them sometimes into forcing them into do that. So we work a lot of pad work. How it was getting into pad work a lot and just shooting.
Do you put him in with like D1 wrestlers and say, listen, just...
Yeah, he goes with everybody. Like him and Sanchez, they had the fight in the Ultimate Fighter finale, and now they train together. And so they'll, he gets in there with. It's funny, like I got 5 guys that have all fought each other, in the UFC, but. Yeah, it's just basically finding ways to trick people into doing stuff that they don't want to do. And, a lot of times with guys like that or any of my guys is just kind of try to do the inception factor, plant the seed, make them think it's their thought, and then come back and be like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're so right.
Now, a guy like Chiesa, who beyond tough. I mean, that was a fight other Benny. I was like, if this goes to the ground, I got Benny. And Chiesa's just a fucking... I don't know what's wrong. That guy's like next level. But Chiesa keeps going from your camp to that, back to Seattle, back to your camp, back to Seattle. Is that frustrating? Do you want to tell guys like, I'll work with you, but I need 5 fights or I need 3 fights because if
Chiesa's my boy. Really good friends, and I've done 3 or 4 of his camps, and sometimes. It's really the fighter just kind of has to, jumping around a lot is maybe not the best thing. But it's really, that's another one of those spots you got to kind of just know your place. Like he's one of those guys that I just talked to him the other day, anytime he wants to come out and work, I'll have him out, because I love him personally and whatever. But yeah, I'm not a firm believer in just kind of bouncing around from camp to camp to camp to camp to camp. But, he does the bulk of his work in one spot and then goes out and kind of does his fight camps.
Built a house. He's kind of like a long man. Like he's like a beard and like a weirdo.
He's a lumberjack, man.
He's
a straight lumberjack. So.
Yeah, there's a guy that if he wasn't fighting, he'd have 12 bodies buried in his backyard.
He's a good dude, man.
He is. I love Chiesa. So Serena, now do you think Serena's ready for the pros?
Yeah, we're there. We're just waiting for the right fight. If something, whatever comes up, we're gonna get her fighting soon. It's kind of the holiday season, so a lot of this promotions and shit slow down at the end of the year. But we're just kind of putting the feelers out and seeing what comes back. I wouldn't be opposed if a good, amateur fight popped up that just to stay busy. Then I'd be okay with that. But yeah, we're looking for the right pro fight right now, and we're gonna get her going pro this year.
And then you have a day job, right? You were telling me.
Yeah, I just write.
That's what you do.
I
You
write, and I also help Roxy teach the kids at Syndicate for kids jiu-jitsu as well.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of cute watching all these like 5 to 8 year olds scramble. It's like watching puppies play fight. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I watch her. Then I watch Jessie Jess coach little kids. I'm like, man,
It's a little bit different. Get over here, you little fucker.
Oh, she's so funny. She's so fun and hot. That girl, forget it. All right, so Carla Esparza versus Cynthia Calvillo. Who do you like in this one? Benny.
I haven't seen it a lot from Cynthia.
6-0.
Yeah, I wish I saw a little bit more for her wrestling, but to be honest, I'm gonna have to go with her. She's looking pretty good in her striking. She's tough, mentally really tough, and I think she'll grind it out.
Yeah.
Cover you.
Same.
I find that coaching girls, because I coach wrestling, when I coach little girls, it's so much easier than coaching guys because they don't fuck around.
Really?
They don't fuck around. They're not not pulling each other's pants down. They're not like, oh, can we play a game? It's always, can we play a game? Yeah, the game's winning wrestling matches, you little fuckers. Okay, that's I got you twice a week. It's always, can we play a game? I'm like, no, we're not playing a game. The other coach, let's just play. I don't care, okay? And then, but the girls, they listen. They want to learn. The hard part, though, is that they're way harder on themselves. If they don't get something, they get down, and I have to build them up. The guys, sometimes I gotta be like, you're not as good as you think you are, in a way, like we have to work. The girls, I gotta be like, hey, you doing okay? It's okay. Don't worry about it. You'll get there. Is that your experience with coaching girls and guys?
It's a mixed bag. It's definitely I've done really, really well with women. I've had a lot of success in women's MMA. Got a great winning record and stuff. But it's definitely different than coaching guys, man. It's a whole different perspective on both sides. And like I said, you got that little thing called estrogen that sometimes flows a little heavy, and you got to sometimes the things that I would say to somebody, as a guy, I can't say to the girls, and But for me, truthfully, I really try to treat my female athletes who want to be treated equally.
Yeah.
I try to treat them the same way that I do my male athletes. I don't think anybody different. They don't get any breaks. They don't get any. I mean, she'll tell you I've probably yelled at her and made her cry. I've made every girl on the team cry multiple times, basically almost every day, but in a loving, kind manner.
Wow, what an endorsement for the gym.
Yeah.
No, it's not just. It's just the way it happens.
It obviously works wonders. I mean, look at us. So
Yeah, you guys are killing it.
Yeah, working with women, I always find it a little bit different because you want to criticize them, but you got to do it in a way where they're not going to take it and just explode. That seems to be the hardest part. But with men, I'm just like, dude,
they don't like it when you call them fat.
Oh, really?
I wasn't even going to say that.
Fat today.
No, you said that before?
Oh man!
I personally say I'm fat. I just don't care. Some other ones, I've seen. They're like, oh my god. I'm like, get used to it.
I've had it hard when I'm trying to teach the guy. Okay, take your hand, put it on her thigh. I feel like I'm directing a porn. I'm like, this sounds a lot worse than it actually is. Now, weight cutting. Now, how hard is it as a coach for you? Like when you see someone like Kevin Lee said he lost 22 pounds the night before his last fight. As a coach, how do you deal with that? What's your strategy?
I try to stay on top of that a lot earlier than the night before. I try to have a goal of, okay, here's what I want you to weigh fight week. No more than 10, no more than 12, depending on who it is. Sometimes the women, I want you to be a little bit lower. That's one thing I've learned the hard way several times is staying on fighters. And then by staying on, I mean putting them on the scale and looking every day or every other day.
Does they lie to you?
Oh, God. They'll lie straight through their teeth a lot of times. It's happened a lot lately, but you got to just monitor it. It's just the one thing with fighters is a lot of times the more you're on top, the more monitoring, the more you're gonna get better results. It's just one of those things. It's literally like coaching is like being the principal of a middle school. Sometimes you have to stay on top of managing all these little facets and everything. But that's something for me. I know I'm trying to get involved in staying overseeing all those facets and bringing more people in to help. And
It seems like a lot of fighters break. Like when there's 4 pounds left, they're like, I can't do it. I can't. Like they just say, I can't do it. I can't do it. Now, are you one of those guys like you can do it? You give them the whole Rocky speech, or are you just like, fuck it, you want to quit? Quit.
No. We never. Quitting's usually not an option. The only time I ever have somebody quit is when I know, like, it was a short notice fight, or you're gonna do damage, like to where it's like, okay, we're gonna miss by 2 pounds, but those 2 pounds might even take you out of that fight, or you're gonna have a horrible performance. And you've seen a lot lately. So many people have been hospitalized, even died, weight cutting. So it's kind of one of those things you got to really be careful with. Like I said, I try to handle that weeks before. And there's some dudes that are just really good at cutting weight, man. There's some guys that are good at it, but eventually that shit catches up with you.
That's the thing, especially with college wrestlers.
Yeah.
Because college wrestlers were like, I was cutting the reason I quit wrestling was because I was cutting 21 pounds a week, and I was like, the fuck am I doing? I'm not getting paid for this. Like, eventually I kind of just broke. And looking back at it, I wish I would have handled it differently. Yeah. But I think a lot of times guys do it in college, and then all of a sudden they hit their 30s, and they're like, oh, I can do it. Well, when I was 19, I cut 20, and their body says, no, you can't do this anymore. You see it with Johnny Hendricks, perfect example of somebody who probably cut badly his whole life.
Your body takes a toll. I think it takes a toll on your brain. It takes a toll on everything, man.
Benny, how much you cut?
Man, the week of the fight, I don't have more than 15 to go. I'm normally 170, and I'll do all water from there.
Well, look, you look like you could be 45. No?
No way. Everybody always says that to me, but it's just not gonna happen. I'm pretty lean. I just don't get abs. I don't know what it is. Like body fat.
I have the same problem.
I know you struggle.
Man, my body fat is like less than 10. I'm like around 9 during the week of the fight, sometimes 8, but still no abs. It's just one of those things. So making it to 145, I think I would kill myself. Now, what you're talking about guys cutting weight, some guys, in my opinion, are too tough, and those are the guys I worry about. Guys who are like, oh, I can't do it. I'm like, okay. I prefer guys to be that way because I know they're not going to hurt themselves. I'll be like, okay, let's do this. Take a break. We'll think about this, and then we'll reset and try again. And if you can't, that's fine. That's normally how I like to approach it. My problem is a guy like Giga. He's a K1 fighter, one of the best guys in glory right now. And he just fought in China. So he got a short notice fight, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to take it. Okay. So we fly out to China, and he wants to do 2 practices a day. And
it's a 20-hour flight.
Yeah, right off when we got off the plane, he puts on his sweatsuit. He puts on a bunch of clothes. He puts, what is that crap that makes you sweat?
The rubber suit?
Albaline?
The Albaline, no. And then the new one, the
Sweet sweat?
Sweet sweat. Like all of this stuff. He gets into the mode. And we start working. So we do 1 practice, and I'm like, okay, cool. Time to chill. And then like 6-7 hours later, he's like, I think we should do another practice like that. And I'm like, dude, you're going to kill yourself.
And how much weight does he have to lose?
He had to lose like 20 pounds in that 1 week, or actually in that like 3-4 days. So I'm like, I think we should chill. And he's like, no, let's do it. I was like, I can't say no at that point.
He's Brazilian?
No, he's from the Republic of Georgia. It's former Soviet Union. So with that being said, guys like that who've made the weight, who just think I just got to go harder, those are the guys that scare me.
Did he make weight?
He made weight, but like,
did he win his fight?
He lost a weird decision, but it was an awesome fight, amazing fight, man. I'd watch that fight over and over again. But like guys like him, guys like RDA, Rafael dos Anjos, to be honest, his last like 3-4 fights at lightweight, he shouldn't have been at lightweight. I watched him make weight. His last fight against Ferguson, I was there. Actually, I was there for his fight with. Why am I forgetting his name right now?
Ferguson, Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez, yeah, with Eddie Alvarez, with Eddie Alvarez, he passed out. He passed out twice making weight. And he still ended up fighting. And then against Ferguson, we spent a lot of time in elevation, which actually I think helped him get leaner. Because when you're in elevation, I guess your muscles get leaner and you get rid of unnecessary muscle. So the day he made weight, he got on to he made 156 or 155, I don't remember. And I remember he got out of the bath. And it was my turn to go in. We only had 1 bath. So I went in and I jumped in. And I think it took me like 30 minutes to cut the last 2 pounds or 3 pounds. I don't remember exactly what it was. I got out. I cleaned myself off. I'm pretty dehydrated. It sucks. And I walk out. And he's still sitting in the hall because he can't get up. He literally couldn't get up.
Day before the fight?
This is the day before the fight. He's gonna go weigh in right now. All he had to do was walk, maybe like.
You could tell. I mean, Eddie clipped him once, and he was out.
And he never was able to recover. He had a lot of time to recover, but he just couldn't.
Now at that point, do you put all your money on Eddie Alvarez?
No way. So, but like with that being said, man, he couldn't even walk to the weigh-ins. Now we had to help him walk to the weigh-ins, but he's so tough. His mind is so tough. He's done it so many times. He just says, "Oh, I'll be able to do it." Those are the guys.
At
that,
170 now, he's killing it.
Exactly. Those are the guys that scare me. That are so tough that they might kill themselves cutting weight.
Yeah, Serena. So you're 22 pounds over right now, right?
Yeah.
So what now? Are we going to be smart about this?
Yeah. I've put John and Roxy through enough. And
Can't you just miss weight and say I have autism? Or no, that wouldn't work.
That work?
No, I mean, I'm sick of women who also use, I had my period excuse. Great, we all get a period. Just keep track of it.
Well, if you don't go on dates, you'll keep getting them. Right.
I'm tired, quite honestly, of fighters literally killing themselves making weight, from people having kidney failures, people like literally dying, like in ONE FC. It makes me really angry seeing that. Of course, Gabby Garcia missing all that weight.
Yeah.
That top's like what? Mayhem.
Mayhem missed weight by 24 pounds, got off the scale, took off his shorts, and went back on. And
I was just going to say
get out of here.
That was the best thing ever. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Difference? Unless you got some weights in those shorts, like get the fuck out of here.
He said he had a Speedo on underneath the shorts, and he was going to go on again in like a fucking, Marx Brothers skit or something. But
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Mayhem is a guy, though. You look at natural talent, and there's a guy, hard work as well, but natural talent of what if. How many guys do you see walk into your gym? You've opened 5 gyms where you're just like, fuck, if he just would have, either the girlfriend or the relationship or
all
the
the time.
drugs.
The biggest thing is, having the talent. That's obviously awesome to have, and that natural ability and being an athlete. But if you don't have the mindset to go with it, and to get both of those, that's where you end up with championship quality guys. It's very few and far between. There's guys that you just have to have the drive, the heart. You have to have the chin. You have to have the athleticism. You have to have everything all there to kind of line up to get that title. There are some guys that have worked over the years that are just grinders, the Forrest Griffins, the people that have grinded their way to the top. Bisbee,
Clay Guida.
Yeah, that just haven't been the best, but got there and got a title and got whatever after just tenaciousness and just, devotion to the sport.
That's how I feel about me and my comedy. I got taken comedy 20 years ago.
Iron Man,
I was not the best comic in my comedy class that I took. I'm never the best comic, but you do the most amount of sets and you write the most and you work the hardest. Eventually, you outwork everybody.
There's a lot of guys, a lot of talent I've seen wasted on the mats. A lot of talent.
Yeah, it's at a point where I like don't even believe in the word talent. I've come to realize, like, okay, this guy's got like awesome physical tools, but he's not there mentally. Okay, no good. And then there's guys vice versa. They got a good mindset and they're able to do it. Another thing is you see a guy who's new, and compared to another guy who has a lot of experience, this guy's super motivated. Experienced guy, not that motivated. But if you think about it, the experienced guy is way better. He's just not motivated. So there's so many factors. So I just stopped believing in that.
That's the thing. Like when I was in high school, I was always the best guy in the room at wrestling. When I went to college, I'm no longer the best guy in the room, but I got so much better because I was getting my ass kicked by better guys. A guy that comes to mind is this guy Francis Ngannou. I remember Dewey Cooper telling me he didn't know anything when he came to the gym. He didn't know he knew a little bit here, a little bit there, but now that he actually knows stuff or he's learning the technique, it's going to be. You like him over Stipe or what?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I held pads for him once, and I've seen him in the gym and doing stuff, and that guy, I mean, it's a different kind of monster. Like, Stipe is obviously a really good fighter and a really good, he's a good wrestler. He's got some good striking. He's tough. But this guy, he's one of those kind of freight trains that's coming through, and I just don't know.
Was he the hardest guy you've ever held pads for?
He's one of them, man. Like, that guy for sure is like, yeah, it's freakish.
Now there are guys like I heard like Kelvin Gastelum in the gym. Everybody beats him up. Like, he comes late, leaves early. You're like, this guy's, and then he goes out there and it's just a different monster. And then
on season 17, I was an assistant coach for John Jones, and every fight I was like, fight Kelvin.
Yeah.
I was like, fight Kelvin. Everybody was like, I want to fight Kelvin. I'm like, do it. And then he'd go out there and just tear through everybody. It was crazy.
You know, with Kelvin, it's so interesting. He'll show up 8 weeks before his fight, and I'm just like, no, man, there's no way you're ready to fight. You're gonna need another like 12 weeks. And then there's 2 weeks left, and I'm sparring with him. Like, this is a different person. I can't keep up with him. He's moving well. I think for him, it's just focus. Whether it be in the gym or in the fight, it's just focus. If he shows up focused in the gym, guess what? You're getting your ass kicked. He's that good.
I still don't think he should be 85 though. I mean, I think you think him versus Romero or Whitaker. I mean, I just think it's gonna be the same thing as Weidman, where these guys are just a good big guy beats a good smaller guy most of the time. But against Woodley, here's a guy who's in the hospital 10 hours before the fight, missed weight by like 7 pounds, almost died, and you could argue that he beat Woodley. It was a very, very close fight.
Yeah, but even against Weidman, I felt he did really well. He dropped him in the first, and he was there. With Kelvin, again, it doesn't matter the weight class. It's more about his focus. I'm gonna continue to believe in that because I've seen him go from just shows up, and I'm like, dude, you're not even a professional, to just an absolute animal.
I told him, I heard girls beat you with like girls off the street. And they come in, they're the first day, they're just tapping Kelvin. But then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah.
Well, that's like what we were talking about before. So if you get a guy like that who has that kind of ability, and you start putting other little pieces that maybe you're, keeping him in the gym all the time, and he starts to find that fire, like, he'll be a real champion. He's got that potential for sure.
But then you have other guys where, I don't want to say pile, but other guys where you're like at the gym, they're 1,000-0, and then they go out there and the lights get to them, or
you just never know, man. The psychology of the sport is the biggest thing. I feel like there's a lot of areas that the guys are lacking in, and just keeping their mind sharp and stuff, because you can train all day long, but when you get out there, eventually you start to let the what ifs, the oh my God. That's why I tell all my guys, make sure you handle all that shit. You take as much of that out of the play of like, oh, I should have done this. I should have done extra trail. I should have. And if you have, and you trust your team, and you trust the people around you that have said, man, you've done everything you could do, then it's just a matter of you going and fighting somebody and being better than they are, or they're being better than you.
But aren't there guys that thrive on chaos? Like, I remember when Manny Pacquiao had like 9 girlfriends, was like on cocaine, steroid allegation. I think he was wanted to be assassinated. He goes out there and destroys Barrera, Morales, and then all of a sudden he finds Jesus. He's in church every day, and he's getting knocked out by Marquez. So isn't there some times where it's the opposite is true?
Are you trying to blame the Jesus on this?
I don't know. I'm just... Have you seen it the other way?
Yes, I've seen it every which way you can. I mean, in our sport, even we have champions in our sport now. Some of the people that are the best fighters in the world that have survived and won titles off of coke binges and all kinds of crazy stuff. So there's just two different sides of it. It just really depends on the person.
But I'd say more likely, but if you're listening, kids out there, more likely than not, the person who has their shit together and who's not doing those things.
Go to the Jesus side. That's the better side.
That's the best way to say it.
So we got Dan Hooker versus Mark Diakis. Who do we like in this fight?
To be honest, I haven't seen either one of the guys fight too much, but from what I hear, Daikias, I'm not sure how you say his name. He's supposed to be a savage, so I'm looking forward to watching this fight.
Yeah, I go with the same guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I've seen a couple of his fights, and he's a very talented guy. I definitely go with him.
Same unpronounceable name. I've watched a few of his fights on Fight Pass and everything, just because, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like looking at Roxy, who's also like bug-eyed, so.
Yeah, and a fight that got announced today, Tisha Torres versus Jessica Andrade. Oh, Jessica Andrade, when she's on, it's like a mini Vanderlei Silva. I mean, it's just,
and I feel like she's on every time.
Except for the Joanna fight.
I thought she was on there too. She tossed her. She was hitting her. It's just Joanna came in sharp.
Yeah.
She really did.
Man, I want Tisha to win so much. I like Tisha, but this girl, when I saw her murder Jessica Penne, and then I was there, and then I saw her murder Claudia.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't expect that one.
No one did.
Nobody
did.
Holy shit. And then she's just like it's hard to train for a girl like, how do you train for a girl like that? You got to bring in like a pit bull or something. How do you do that? How do you do that?
I would bring in guys because she can, when she grabs you, she can toss you. It's so easy the way she tosses people. I know there's technique to it, but you can see that she's really physically strong. Her punches are powerful. I would bring in guys to train with. Just so you can get used to somebody stronger than you.
Yeah. Luis Smoka versus Matheus Nicolau from Brazil. Do we know these guys? Nope. All right. Marvin Vittori. Is that your boy?
That's my boy.
The Italian Dream against Wolverine, Omari Akhmedov. Now, is this guy from Dagestan?
I believe so.
What is it about this fucking place? Like they
Have you been there?
No, have you been there?
How about that?
Yeah, I've been down to that part of the country. Yes, it's that's all those guys have is to get in there and train like savages all day. That's the way they get out of that place, and and they're like soldiers.
What were you doing there?
Fights. I've been down there all.
Have you been there?
I have not, but I've heard stories about Chechnya, and like he said, they're soldiers, and it's easier living being a fighter than it is anything else. Because, for example, the president loves MMA, so he'll take care of you if you're a fighter.
Ah, now it starts to make sense. I know that little tidbit.
Guys like Khabib, Rashid Magomedov, guys like that, they're taken care of, they're loved, they're adored.
Let's get on my wrestling team. He's 12 years old. He does jiu-jitsu. He's second in the state in kickboxing. He does boxing and now he does wrestling. And he's from there, Chechnya.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And he doesn't look. He looks like worse shape than you, Benny. But he's just.
Thank you.
Benny's in very good shape. But
That's
he's,
not true, actually.
He has that bare strength. So all right. So should I put money on Marvin?
I would.
You would, honestly?
Yes.
Even though the other guy's from Dagestan?
I don't care where he's from.
All right, okay. All right, Miles Jury versus Rick Glenn. This is a good fight. Rick Glenn, Team Alpha Male, tough guy. Miles Jury Jiu-Jitsu.
Man, that's gonna be a scrap. I don't know who to go with one on that one. I think I'd go with Jury on that one, maybe.
Serena?
I guess I'll go with Jerry because, that will be a scrap. It's like, who's going to implement their game first?
I think he's going to play it smart, look for the takedown. Because I watched Rick Glenn fight before. He's susceptible to the takedown. Training at Team Alpha Male might change that, but I think if Jury coming off a couple of losses, and I think he recently won one, but just being smart, I think he's going to play it smart and go for the takedown.
And then your boy is fighting a guy named Michael Olasekchuk. They did a great job with this card. I mean, it's like alphabet soup. This is the biggest, the fucking biggest card of the year. I don't know how to. I mean, I'm bad at pronouncing names, but now come on, this looks like what is this?
Like
all right,
fights in an education lesson.
I have no idea how to pronounce that guy's name.
He's from Poland. What do we know? Have you been watching tapes of him?
Oh yeah. He's typical like kind of Eastern European, comes out, throws a lot of hooks, a lot of big bombs. Good stand up, tough guy. It's gonna be a scrap. It's definitely gonna be a scrap, and somebody's gonna get knocked out.
Now Khalil's got really good power.
Oh God.
Like his last fight, I mean, he knocked the guy out like he was.
Yeah, he's freakish power too. Like he's one of those guys, super fast, accurate, and hits like a truck.
Polish guys are tough, from what I hear. Because watching Fabricio fight Tibura, whatever his name is, after Fabricio hit him so many times, I'm like, dude, why isn't this guy going down? And everybody was telling me, Polish guys are just now
that's your coach, Fabricio,
tough.
right?
Fabricio, he's my teammate.
Your teammate, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Rafael Cordero is my coach, and then Fabricio is my teammate.
Now, are you on Team Fabricio or Team Colby as far as throwing the boomerang?
Fabricio, 100%.
I was there for that, right?
You were there?
I was in the middle of that.
Okay, all right, okay. Let's get. All right, no, I did not know that. All right, all right. Now the podcast starts. Okay.
There we go.
So
I can't believe you didn't.
Colby Covington says his story is Fabricio sucker punched him or punched him in the face. Then Colby I don't know, it got broken up, and then he threw a boomerang at him.
Yes.
That's not what's on the tape, though. But is that what happened?
So I was standing there, actually had my back facing somebody else, and all of a sudden I get slammed into from behind. I hear this, what motherfucker, and I turn around, and I thought they were play fighting because they start squaring up and they're starting, and they're dancing around in the street, and I was just like, what's going on here? Okay. And then I realized, I was like, oh wait, that's Verdum, and okay, this makes sense now. And so then he threw a kick at him, and it was this big thing, and so then they got kind of pushed out into the street, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit back and we're gonna do this,
enjoy it.
Goes. Yeah. And then I felt bad because one of the UFC guys there, he was just this little tiny guy, got in the middle and was trying to break it up. I was like, oh man.
But did Verdum hit him first?
I do not know. I had my back. I just know that I got slammed into and then turned around. So Verdum, something definitely happened. I think he knocked his phone out of his hand is what the deal was, and I think they watched the tape after. I think he came up and slapped.
Fabricio?
Yeah, slapped the phone out of his hand. I don't think he hit him. And then they had an exchange. exchange or something like that, and then it was just
Because the way Colby described it, you're like, oh, okay, I could see why Colby would be upset if Verdum hit me and then threw a boomerang at me. But like that's not a very nice way to behave. But then I'm thinking, wait, that doesn't make any sense. And if Verdum did throw a punch at him, like, would he just take it? I mean, like an open hand punch. That's a huge guy.
Yeah,
throwing
that was
a punch at you.
Uncomfortable feeling. I was trying to like kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
God.
that's-
And then you got Cordero, who's there too, who's a phenomenal, ex-fighter.
And he wasn't even stopped from when I watched the video. Cordero wasn't even Master Rafael wasn't even trying to go in front of Fabricio. He was like,
No.
okay.
And no, it was.
He just had his arms crossed. I felt like if something went down, he was going to be the first one to go in. So that's a sticky situation.
I was like, oh shit, my butt was puckering on that one.
Yeah, I would be.
I've had people get mad at me. Like I've had other managers get mad at me for retweeting Colby stuff. I retweet everybody's stuff. Anybody talks shit, I just kind of a funny stuff to do, regardless if I'm friends with them or not. I think it's kind of funny, but I don't support. I think Colby, what I thought he was doing was like a shtick, like Chael, but I'm starting to think that he actually believes this, and then it stops becoming fun, because when you start saying you're all filthy animals or this place is a dump, or I was like, and I asked him, like, Colby, what about the people that you train with that are Brazilian? He goes, well, they left Brazil, didn't they? And I was like, which was actually a pretty good answer. But you go, well, come on, man. Like, it's funny if you just say, but when you start actually thinking it's serious, it's like, okay, this is no longer funny now. It's just being racist, or people are gonna say Brazil's not a race. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Ignorant, or
I mean, they do
bigoted.
kind of chant at you, "You're going to die" while you're out there.
But they weren't saying you're gonna die, Colby.
No.
Like it's one thing if he was the only
I can
one.
get why some American fighters might not like Brazilian.
Yeah, I fought there 3 times. The thing is, during the match, it's like that. I hate it. It makes me nervous.
It's a volatile situation.
It's not fun. But after the match, everybody's super nice,
Yes.
and they treat you good. So I've come to just learn to deal with it. But dude, the guy was not helping himself, I think.
Well, if he now is coaching the Ultimate Fighter and he's getting a title shot, maybe he is helping himself, which is bad, because now what's the next precedent? The next guy goes,
that's the
all
thing
black
is-
people are we going all Jews?
Every
I mean,
precedent's
Yeah.
been set now,
Yeah.
like, or broken. Like, you can just kind of talk your way, like we were talking about earlier, or shit talk your way into a spot like that, or a title fighter. So everybody's doing it. You've seen this wave, and then you've seen the wave of champions. I just want money fights. I want money fights. So now you're
that's
clogging up
so
all
stupid.
the divisions. It's like, dude, fight the guys that have fought, whatever. And if you're an entertaining fighter, people are going to want to watch you fight. It doesn't matter. Like, you're going to get money fights by being an entertaining fighter, not by calling out another entertaining fighter.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, Colby at least beat Damian Maia, who, in my
Yes.
opinion, is 1 or 2 on the contenders list.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, he has that to his name. I still just think he's kind of an idiot.
I don't agree with what he's doing. I like Colby as a person. I was always been a friend of his, but I'd be like, Colby, don't fucking do this. What are you doing? I mean, it's not a way. Come on, man. You can't call people animals and a whole, a whole nation of people. Now, you train with Ferguson, right?
No.
You never trained. Who do you think wins, Ferguson or Connor?
Oh, I think Ferguson for sure. Ferguson, 1 is awkward, 2 has unlimited cardio, and 3 he can take a shot.
However, right, Connor seems to hit people and they go down. I mean, look at Aldo.
But if they don't,
Go down.
At 55, it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
I mean, he hit Nate Diaz. Diaz went down like 3 times. He hit Eddie Alvarez. Alvarez didn't know where he was.
Man, Eddie Alvarez looked like crap in that fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. There's always that
And
chance.
Tony gets hit a lot.
Yeah, there's always that chance. I'm not saying there isn't that chance, but if that's the only thing that's going, then I'm going to go with Ferguson. If your only thing is, if he hits him that one time, well, what if it goes 5 rounds? What
Yeah.
if it goes to the ground? Who wins then? And I think Ferguson has the advantage in all of that stuff, so I'm going Ferguson.
That's a tough fight. It's tough to bet against Connor, on any of the stuff that he's done. He's obviously an extremely good fighter and does hit like a truck. But if you look at Connor, too, he's also there to get hit. He gets hit a lot, too. He just moves and stuff. Everybody that's ever fought him has hit him, but he's got a great chin. I would tend to lean to Ferguson on that one. But I'd say it's a 50-50 kind of toss-up in that
Now,
fight.
do you think if he boxes De La Hoya, if that ever happens, who wins the boxing match at this point?
Man,
I'm going Connor.
Connor, really?
Bro, De La Hoya's been doing what? Like just partying.
So is
and
Connor.
dressing up in women's clothes.
Yeah, but De La Hoya's been doing that for what? The past 10 years. Connor,
Now, in your
maybe.
party years, you never dress up in pantyhose and put on.
I know.
Serena, who do you like in that fight?
I like Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah. They pretty much said everything about the hitting and everything. And once someone figures out Connor's awkward style and moves around it, they do well.
Have you trained with Misha ever?
She did drag me to Extreme Couture once to John's disapproval.
Oh, come on.
He was nice about it. He just called me a traitor once.
So what happened?
That was when she was getting ready for Holly Holm. She after my fight against Bridget Nielsen, she bought me dinner.
The one who banged Flavor Flav? No, different
Stallone's
Bridget.
ex-wife.
All right, go on.
The deaf one.
The deaf one.
Okay.
Got it.
She gave me a victory dinner. I'm like, hey, thanks. If you need anything, just call me. A few weeks later, she's like, hey, can you help me be part of my training camp? I'm like, sure. She was nice to me, sure. And yeah, we did that. I pretty much got ragged all around. I was in the air thinking to myself, what the fuck did I sign up for? And then it just hit the floor.
Nice. But did you hold your own against Misha?
I did. There's times I actually escaped from some of her wrestling, but she was good. She was in fight camp. I was fat because the holidays.
Did she have the nicest butt you ever trained with?
I wasn't looking, so.
No. Now, do a lot of girls hit on you? A lot of girls assume you're a lesbian, and
I have everybody hit on me. I'm like, thanks.
You
I've
get-
had
you-
some pro fighters slide in my Snapchat when I'm just taking like innocent little pics with like my bird or something. I'm like, thanks. Thank you for the compliment. But,
you have a bird?
Yeah.
Of course she has a bird.
How many birds do you have?
Just one.
Does it talk?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Just says its name, calls me mom, plays video games, put on Tekken on practice mode, and it like moves the joystick with its foot and just pecks the buttons. And
Oh,
jumps
that's
up and
cool.
down.
That's totally normal.
He thinks he wins and jumps up and down, you know.
All right. So people see you with the bird, and then they send you vagina shots.
No, well, it doesn't go that far, thank God, because then
okay.
I'd be like,
Get myself
yeah.
a bird.
All right, Serena and the bird. All right, so Carlos Condit, Neil Magny. I got Condit all day.
Condit.
I'm going to go with Magny.
Really? Why is this?
Just because Condit's coming off a long layoff, and it seems like almost, I'm not sure his situation, but it seems like he's just coming in for a nice payday, and when guys come in just for a payday, this is not a sport you want to do just for a payday. So with that being said, I know Magny's hungry. I know he fights a lot, and I'm going to have to go with Magny.
Now, have anybody from your hometown ever offered you their daughters to marry?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
What, from now people in Assyria say, hey, marry my daughter?
No, I mean
Iran?
Iran too, and Syria, and like even here, it's just. I think it's one of those things. They're like, oh, you should meet my daughter. You would love her. You can have her, and think it's just
That's crazy. You could have her?
like get married. Basically, I think it's a cultural thing. Like setting people up, get married. That's super
Do
popular.
you look at any of the daughters at all, or do you say no?
Most of the time, no.
No.
Yeah.
Are any of them kings? Like, do you ever think maybe you could become
I've become a
prince or
king.
something?
No, I don't think so. None of that.
All right. Mhm. Okay, so I think we covered all the fights pretty much. We got all of them. It's going to be a good little thing. Now, a fight that got announced was Donald Cerrone versus Yancy Medeiros. That fight, if you would have told me that fight was made 2 years ago, I would have said Donald Cerrone all day.
All day.
But this new and improved Yancy, and it's sort of like, I hate to say on the decline Donald Cerrone, but not peak Donald Cerrone. This might be, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Donald's on the decline. He fought Darren Till, and he had one of those moments where he just shuts down. He does that once in a while. Like he'll fight certain guys, and he just doesn't. Like zero does not perform. He's not there. And then his fight with Lawler was.
I take it back. Not on the decline. Go
Yeah,
on.
it was awesome. Yeah, he had a great fight with Lawler.
Yeah, I
so,
was there. I was crazy.
Yeah, with that being said, I think he if it's a firefight, he's still good. If it's a technical fight, I think he's even better.
Yeah, I think Yancy has to make this into like a.
I think
now,
so,
are there
too.
any guys that you train where you're like, this guy's so much better than you, technical, you have to make it into a fight, a scrap?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people like that. That's always there's each fight. There's always kind of those moments. I tell my guys, you always have that fallback. I try to do is, controlled violence and try to keep every guy thinking. Even if you're going to be into that crazy ass brawl and throwing and stuff, you want to have your mind still about you. When you start to see red and just throw.
That's dangerous.
That's when you get, really dangerous.
Drag him into your strength.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing, yeah.
Oh man. Now, what was the happiest you've been as a coach? Is it Roxy?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, there's been a lot of things, but I've that was some pretty awesome experiences with her and having, on that journey with her. It was great. This last one with Jess too. It's tough, man. I think Roxy's probably one of her first win with us was a really good one. It was really cool to be.
Was it against Andrea Lee?
No, the one before that was Tara LaRosa.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, so that was a really cool moment, to be there and just to see where she's gone.
Do you ever now? I remember I was coaching a little kid and I told him to pick bottom instead of top, and he got turned, and it was like the tournament, and I was like, fuck, he would have won if he got top. And then I'm all night long like over a 10-year-old picking bottom. I'm like just depressed, and like 2 days later I'm still. Did that ever happen to you where you're like?
Absolutely, all the time. I mean, I don't over game plan fights a lot because I always assume that the fighter is getting better too. The other fighter is trying to improve on his weaknesses. So when I look at stuff, I spend a lot of time looking at my fighters' last few fights to see what we could improve or what somebody would want to try to take advantage of. So that's not there when they go to do that. So I try to keep a loose game plan of like, here's what we do. But like sometimes, you do things or you say the wrong thing or you did the wrong thing. You game plan like a few things. I've had those moments with my fighters, where I'm like, man, I'm sorry. We should have done something, and it's just as a coach, like I feel you got to be just in it as much as they are,
No, I've seen coaches though, the guy's getting his ass kicked, especially in boxing. He's down like 9 rounds to nothing, and the coach is like, "You're doing great, hang in there."
No.
And I'm like, he's obviously doing this to trick him or to not give up on himself, but he's lying to him. He's not doing great. He's getting the shit beaten out of him. But I've seen it work actually, where the guy comes back in the 10th round. I'm like, oh, wow, that coach actually did a good job. Are you a fan of that?
It really depends on the fighter, man. There are some fighters that just straight up need that. There's some people that you need to slap in the face. All right, come on, motherfucker, let's go. And they get motivated by it. And then there's some that just need to hear something or have it calm down. Too much in the head. You got to be there in the moment. It just really depends person to person. So knowing your fighter in and out, and inside the gym and learning how to work with them in the corner is a very important thing. If they need that motivation, what they need, a lot of the fights, I believe, are won and lost in the back room. You can tell if a guy's ready or prepared or during the warm-up, you're like, there's so many times I sat there and go, oh shit, like this is not going to be good. And so it's just knowing your fighter and trying to get to that personal level with them so that you can kind of either steer them in the right direction or pull them back.
I remember CM Punk had the fight, and I texted one of his coaches. I go, how's he going to do? And they wrote back, not good. This was the night before. This is his coach telling me, right?
Yeah.
Have you had that where you feel like, oh shit, I know my kid's gonna get slaughtered. Or like this is not gonna go good.
So early in the career, you let guys take fights early in coaching. There's a lot of fights where I was like, oh shit, not doing that again. You learn your lesson. You think guys are like, maybe he'll show up and do this, and you just know it's not going to. So I really, really try not to do that anymore. Any fight can be won or lost, but you always want to have the thought in your mind.
Even
exactly, that it's going to be a good fight or you're going to get this fight. If you go in and you're putting somebody in, now there's experiences and moments like where if someone gets called by the UFC on 3 weeks notice and it's your moment in time, fuck it, we're going in, whatever it is, we're going to take that fight and throw caution to the wind. There's situations that are game changers and life changing situations that you just have to kind of go in and say, let's do it.
Oh, what's his name has been killing it, Justin, the guy who just won last week again, who works at Top Golf.
Oh, Julian Marquez.
Yeah. I mean, they put him against a killer, and it was John Jones's teammate.
Yeah.
And this dude looked like Amistad. I mean, it looked like he was fucking just ripped, huge black guy with just muscles. And they kept talking about how good he was. And Marquez looks homeless, right? But fucking Marquez came, kicked him in the head, and then won his next fight too.
Yeah. I mean, that guy's super tenacious. Julian's a guy to watch out for, and he's so young in his career and just everything. He's getting better and better and better. And he's a guy that just like that. he's one of those guys that if he takes an opportunity, he'll seize the moment and go for it, and he's gonna be he's gonna be something good.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I was so happy whenever I see your guys, I always root for them, even if I know the other person. But that's pretty rare. So especially you and you, Benny, you're right up there, man. What are you, numbers 8, 9, 7?
12. It just depends on the ranking. Some guys have me at 10, some have me at 12.
10 in the world. Now, did
Yeah.
you think when you came over here from Iran and you were getting bullied and everyone was picking on you and you weren't getting any pussy, that one day you'd be 10 in the world and you'd have this hot Chinese, Vietnamese girlfriend and that you'd be the idol and people be offering you their daughters?
No, I was pretty dang sure I was going to be an accountant because
Yeah.
like since I was 14 everybody's like, yeah, most of our family, there's a lot of accountants, you should be an accountant. I was like, all right, so sounds good. It wasn't one of those things where I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it, I want to fight. I was just like, sure. At that time you don't have a purpose, so when people offer stuff, you're like, yeah, let's try it.
And Serena, I really think you should play up to autism more. Like that could be your like go to the wrong corner, like in between fights.
Hey, I've
like,
done that.
But
Trust me, outside the cage, I do
pee in the
plenty pretty
ring.
socially awkward stuff.
I think
Just
like when they
don't
think
even
you
question.
win, cheer. Like even if you lose, start cheering. Like you don't.
She did have I will say one thing with her, like her last fight, she did a really cool thing. It was like the Pack the Mac for Tough Enough. And it was right at my birthday, and I think there was like 10,000 people there. And she
17,000.
after she won,
17,000.
After she won, she had the whole place sing "Happy Birthday" to me. So that was a really
She
cool.
is Serena.
That was a really,
Serena,
really cool
you're a
experience.
legitimately like role model, and I honestly think that the world has not caught up to you yet, but they will.
In time.
They will. They're gonna be movies about you
This year.
This year.
But you got
The year of the
to.
Serena.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I think that should be your nickname. Socially awkward. Serena, socially awkward. Tell me that would be great, and they'll announce your name, and then you won't even come out, and then like you'll and then you'll
Come out and then be like, no.
yeah, come out and then go back, like that could be your be your thing. You don't think that would be the socially
I
awkward?
think Adam should hire him to be your comedy writer.
I would 100% socially awkward. Like go to shake hands, be like I can't do it or something. Don't
Just
touch-
fist bump them instead and be like, which I have done to people sometimes, like, hey.
But what you got to do though, the one thing I do have to say, that one time you lost, or 2 times, the one time people were talking shit about you on the internet and you were responding, and you can't respond to people.
I shouldn't have. Yeah, I was just.
I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah,
You're never
it's
gonna win that battle.
Just people are fucking.
But they're not you. They're not doing what you do.
Yeah, I know. It took me a little while to figure that out in my day. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
They're not. That's like people that you suck at comedy. You're not funny. Okay, but I'm on stage telling jokes and you're behind the computer. So I've already won.
Yeah, I
the
think
fact is, no one's in there but you.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I think the fact that you're doing a lot of amateur fights is so smart. I think that's awesome. I never did any amateur fights, and I think that was a mistake on my part. I should have probably.
Winning your first 8 fights in a row is really really worked against you, buddy.
Right, but one of the things was like all my fights were like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 1 minute and a half, and the reason was because I would put my name down. I would get an opponent who was good, who had fights 3-0, 4-0, like good guys, and then a week before the fight they drop out. So I constantly kept getting these guys who. I mean, I'm grateful for them. Thank God for these guys who showed up, because if not, I wouldn't have had any fights. But I kept getting guys like that, and I kept running through them. I got to the UFC. I was pretty green. I had a couple of fights, and I really felt like I built all my experience in the UFC. I think I had like 10, 15 minutes of cage time before I got into the UFC, which is not the best idea.
Do you get a lot of fights when you were younger, back in Iran?
Yeah, that was kind of that was the thing. It was socially. It was a social thing, actually.
Yeah.
You go here, you go there, and you get in a fight once in a while. Then just talk about.
Your
it
ear
later.
looks amazing right now, by the way. Now, could you hear out of that ear anymore?
What?
Yeah.
This bad boy, man, it sucks. I was working with Marvin the last 2 days, and it's just completely raw now, thanks to him. And I hate headgear.
Are you gonna drain it?
I can't. It's rock solid already, so I'm screwed on that. But they keep telling me when I'm older I should just get it fixed. I'm like, well, when I'm older,
I got mine fixed, and I had to wear because mine used to look like that, and there was no MMA. There was no MMA back then. This one, so I had to wear like a fucking turban for like a month, basically, and they had to like reconstruct the whole thing. Looking back, I wish I would have kept it that way.
Did you get stopped at the airport when you?
No. It was horrible. I mean, like literally, yeah. But I was so they shaved my head wrestling. They're like first to get their head shaved, and then my ears stuck out even worse, and I had like ringworm on the top of my head.
Oh,
it was just so I was like, I gotta get my fucking ear fixed because kids used to literally put cauliflowers in their ears in high school from the at lunch and be like, I'm Adam. It's like a bunch of fucking assholes. Anyway, Serena, what do you have coming up?
I'm just training for right now, like John says. We're just have the feelers out, see what pops up, see what doesn't. But I'm still gonna train, as much as I can, humanly possible, as always, Other than that, I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time. So.
Oh, you're an inspiration.
Talking to a bird. There you go.
Talk to your bird and don't get those pics. John, what do you got coming up?
Got Khalil Roundtree this weekend, and then 2 weeks after that, on the 14th, we've got Jessica Clark.
And where's that fight?
Paige Van Zandt. Co-main event in
St. Louis.
St.
Right?
Louis.
Wow, that's a good. And then on the main card is also on that card is a good Darren Elkins versus Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
That's a good fight.
Some good scrap. There's some
Is
good
that a
scraps on that
45 or?
I believe it is 45.
Oh, I didn't know Johnson dropped. I gotta pay attention.
You got to pay attention. Benny, what do you got? Stop watching Al Jazeera. Benny, what do you got coming up?
I hope I get a fight by February or March, man. That's all. I don't care.
You got to call people out, dude.
I don't care. If it was, it's just not my personality, and I feel like everybody's gonna notice, and they're gonna be like, "Dude, you're just acting up." It's just stupid.
Knock it off.
Yeah. And you gotta be you at the end of the day. You can't change for people, and so with that being said, I don't really feel like calling people out. I just want to fight people. If somebody wants to call me out, cool. I'm here. I'll fight. I have.
James Vick wants his rematch.
He never actually called me out again, but like I took that fight, and I took that fight on short notice, and he was happy about it. So like, at this point, he hasn't really said anything to me.
Were you surprised about how good he's been doing since your fight?
No, I think he's really good. I think he's just a slow starter. That's one of his weaknesses, and I just take advantage of that. But I think
Did you hear his girlfriend yelling during that fight? He has this girlfriend who is like the hottest chick who may or may not wear like stripper dresses that was just screams on top of her lungs. Did you hear her?
I did not hear her. At that point, I was so because I was coming off a loss with Chiesa, and I was super pissed. With that being said, I had blood in my eyes.
You need a better gimmick too. Like you should come out like on a magic. You know how Prince Hassim used to have that like carpet. He'd fly in. Like you don't think maybe?
I got to get a flying carpet. Is what you're saying? I mean,
or maybe a giant genie bottle.
Yeah, Aladdin was the first.
I'm flying out.
First Disney movie I ever saw was Aladdin.
There you go. Come out as Aladdin.
I do like that, so maybe I'll think about
People
it.
will they'll have this giant genie bottle, and then they'll rub it, and then you'll come out, and then Serena will be like, "What am I doing here? Where am I?"
I would find myself in that situation.
You're like, I hate people, and you run away. All right, so I'll be at Stratosphere tonight through Sunday, and then next week I will be at the Pechanga Casino. Following that, I'm in San Diego, Comedy Palace. Then I'm in Seattle at the Comedy Underground, and then after that, Calgary at the Comedy Cave, all in January. Thank you, Benny. You coming to the show tonight?
I'll try. Marvin's cutting weight tonight, so he's gonna be extra.
Maybe tomorrow night.
Maybe tomorrow.
or
Tomorrow
like
will
New
be
Year's
better.
Eve.
Yeah.
Is your girl here with you?
No, I'm headed back before that. We got a little family thing going on, so I got to head back.
Nice.
But Marvin right now is when guys are cutting weight, there's a little bit extra
anger.
So
maybe you have to leave him for a little bit and go see a comedy show.
Maybe that's what I'll do. But what was I gonna say? Pechanga. That's where it was the other spot I was at. I went to Pechanga to corner.
Oh, nice.
I forgot the name.
There you go.
I'm terrible with names, man.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
You're a good fighter. It's all that matters. All right, and John going to see the Misfits tonight, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's with what's his name?
It's the
Glenn
original
Danzig?
the original lineup. Danzig's back.
You ever see when Danzig got punched?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's great. That's legendary.
So anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, Serena. Where can people follow you?
They can follow me on pretty much everywhere at Serena Southpaw. So Instagram, Twitter, all that. Serena Southpaw. Not Serena Socially Awkward yet, but we might think about it.
I think Socially Awkward's a good name. John?
Bigwood MMA.
Benny?
Just Beneil Dariush at everything, whatever, Gmail, Twitter.
Well, thank you guys so much. Take care.
Trap songs trap донцсон Түүний сонсдог хөгжим дур булаан Дагаж дуулан дур булаа мууруулаа